Good day everyone, I am Reah and today I'll show you the plan I created using Gagne's model or the 9 events of instructions. But before we get into the 9 events of instructions, let us first learn about Robert Mills Gagne. So, Robert M. Gagne, born on August 21, 1916 in United States. He was an American educational psychologist best known for his condition of learning, and who pioneered the science of instructions in the 1940s. His book, The Condition of Learning, first published in 1965, identified the mental conditions that necessary for effective learning. Gagne created a 9-step process that detailed each element required for effective learning. So here are the 9 events of instructions that Gagne created. So the first event of instruction is gaining attention. In this event, you need to start the learning experience by gaining the attention of your students or audience. Since it is a hybrid learning, I will use PowerPoint for my presentation of the topic and Google Meet or Zoom as virtual classroom. So before having a proper discussion, students will play a game that serves their motivation activity and gives them an idea of what is the topic all about. In this case, I will ask the students to observe the picture and explain the differences of the two graphs presented below. They are allowed to raise their hands if they want to answer, and to those who are in Google Meet, they can raise their virtual hands and wait until their names is called, and explain to them. Whoever got the correct answer will receive a prize. Next event of instruction is inform learners of the objectives. As future educator, you must ensure that your students knows what they need to learn and that they understand why they are about to learn this new information. So in this event, the teachers will give the objectives to the class. So after the motivation activity, I will let the students know the lesson objectives. At the end of the lesson, students should be able to illustrate linear inequalities in two variables, differentiates linear inequalities in two variables from linear equations in two variables, solve problems involving linear inequalities in two variables, and verifies if a given relation is a function. After given the lesson objectives, I will ask students what comes to their mind as they read the lesson objectives. Third is stimulate recall of prior learning. So in this event, a teacher will present an experience that stimulates memory of prior learning. So when your students learn something new, match the new information with related information or topics they've learned in the past. So ask students about their understanding on the concepts or the previous concepts of linear equations in one variable, and recall some concepts of linear systems to relate previous information to the current topic, which is linear inequality in two variables. So here are some questions that you might ask to your students. What is inequality? What is equation? And what is the difference between inequality and equation? So the fourth event of instructions is present stimulus. In this event, you must deliver the content to your students. Present the new information to your students in an effective manner, like presenting the definition of linear inequality and linear equation, and discussing the difference of linear inequality from linear equations through PowerPoint. We can use a variety of different media and styles to suit students with different learning styles. Next is provide learner guidance. In this event, you must give the learner an examples, like provide examples of problem solvings involving linear inequality in two variables and explain how you come up to that solutions. to help your students learn and retain the information. So you must provide alternative approaches that illustrate the information that you're trying to convey, like help your student learn more effectively by giving examples. Sixth event of instruction is elicit performance. At this event, we need to ensure that our students can demonstrate their knowledge of what you've taught them. So, in this activity, we can give them practice activities like oral recitation of the topic that you've taught them. So, like this, given 3 examples, identify which is linear inequalities and linear equation, and give at least 1 example of real-life situation in your community that represent linear equations and equalities in 2 variables. So, to those students who are inside the classroom, they can raise their hands if they want to answer for an oral recitation. And to those who are in virtual classroom, using Google Meet or Zoom, they can raise the virtual hand and wait until their name is called to answer. Next event of instruction is provide feedback. So after the students demonstrate their knowledge, provide feedback and reinforce any points as necessary. So the teachers provide corrective feedback to what students answers in the oral recitation. So the next event of instruction is assist performance. So in this event, present learners with post-assessment items. Conducting quiz or test is good ways of testing your students' knowledge. Like provide pop quizzes through Google Forms or written tests like identification and problem solving involving linear inequality and linear equation in 2 variables. This event of instruction may also be useful to provide further feedback after you have assessed their performance. So the last event of instruction is enhanced retention and transfer. So in this event, give resources that enhance retention and facilitate transfers of knowledge. Like ask students to generate examples. Repeated practice is the best way to ensure that people retain information and use it effectively. Second is summarize the content of the discussion. Allow them to tell what they have learned from the discussion to know if they really understand the topic. And lastly, I will give them resources which they can read and study so that they can evaluate themselves. So, to conclude my presentation, Ganye's 9 events of instructions are gaining attention, inform learners of the objectives, stimulate recall of prior learning, present stimulus, provide learner guidance, provide feedback, assist performance, and enhance retention and transfer. So, that's all. Thank you for listening.